And today, on our richest segment, we're emphasizing H, have adequate insurance. And first up is Kevin McBride of Parks Title. Now, Parks Title's been around some 25 plus years, Kevin, 6 locations around here. Right. And you've been helping people think about the importance of title insurance. And,
that's correct.
And there's kind of 2 different types of title insurance we really need to know about, right?
That's correct. So there's an owner's policy. And the owner's policy helps the new owner kind of protect their property rights. The second is a lender's policy, and typically, if you're getting a mortgage, most lenders are going to require a lender's policy, and that protects the lender's interest in the property as well. And then the owner's policy that helps the new buyer is typically paid for by the seller. In Michigan, that's typically paid by the seller.
Yeah, tradition has it that the seller provides a title insurance policy, but that's one of 2 typically, unless you're paying cash. There's typically 2 different kinds of policies.
That's correct.
The owner's policy is paid for by the seller.
That's typical.
And
correct.
the buyer has to bring the fees to cover the lender's policy.
That's correct.
But tell me some more about that owner's policy. How do we think about that?
So that owner's policy is, you think about it. There's 2 different types. But when you look at the owner's policy, buying a home is probably your largest investment you're going to make in a lifetime, right? And so that helps reduce their risks. There may be some hidden issues that could pop up and only after they purchase their home. And this owner's policy kind of helps reduce those risks, helps them from unforeseen legal issues or some financial discrepancies that might happen.
Okay, right. And so what kinds of, I don't like the word financial discrepancies. That's a phrase that would scare me in a real estate transaction.
Right.
Talk to me about discrepancies. What are you thinking about?
Well, there's a graphic that I think that we've
put that slide up, would you?
So you look at some of that, the things that could happen. You could have outstanding mortgage and judgments, liens against a property because the seller hasn't paid their property taxes, or not the property tax, but they're paid their taxes. Pending legal actions, an unknown heir from a previous owner could say, "Hey, I own part of the property. I've got an interest in that property." There could be fraudery. There could be fraud. There could be clerical errors. There's a list of it. So it's kind of like a force field. An owner's policy is kind of like a force field, kind of helping you to protect your home.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to insurance, this is the only kind I know about that insures the past. Like my health insurance is in case I get sick in the future. My car insurance is in case I get in a wreck in the future. But this insures my past, things that could come up from the past, right?
So we do historical searches, correct, and we try to make sure that we look for all those things so that they don't pop up going forward.
And I know in your processes, one of the things you guys have is some real quality control. I mean, you're going to insure this title.
Correct.
So you're going to make sure you get it right so you don't have to pay off on a claim.
Well, that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the owner is getting free and clear, unencumbered title, that they own the property. If they're getting a mortgage, the lender wants to make sure that they're getting that and that they have a first lien position for their loan. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure we get it right because we don't want to have to pay a claim if we miss something. But sometimes you miss something.
Well, this insurance is what I call cover your assets. You want to cover your assets, and you don't want to stutter when you say that on TV.
That's
for
correct.
Obvious reasons. But you guys came up with one the other day. I know you said what was being bought wasn't the whole story. How'd that work out?
Well, so with the issue that we had that kind of came up in this recent file was it all ended up working out in the end, but it took a little bit of a mess to get there. And so what happened was, so a buyer buys the house, and they think everything's fine. And they go to refinance that mortgage. And they go to refinance the mortgage, and the lender sends in to get their lender policy. And so we're doing the paperwork, and we find out that there's a lien on the property. And the lien is not the borrower's lien. And so what had happened is that the seller there was a previous mortgage that didn't belong to the current owner that had been taken out like 5 days prior to the closing, and so there's this lien, and so our client is trying to refinance. They can't refinance because there's this lien on the property, and the lender won't have first lien position. So That's where an owner's policy comes in. So they were able to go back, use their owner's policy, file a claim through the underwriter. The underwriter then does their due diligence, does the research, clears that up.
Catches the problem before it catches you, right?
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
That's the importance of have adequate insurance. You want to cover your assets, and title insurance in a real estate transaction is a huge part of that. Kevin McBride. Hey, this is Paul. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you want more about fulfilling your American dream, go to Michigan Real Talk Facebook page. The link's in the description below, or check out more of our videos.